Hi, good morning. My name is Professor Randy Ignacio Nonato. I am the chairman and founder of Cosmic Raven Ventures. It is an all media and events management company, and we also do leadership training and marketing consultancy, plus ISO certification consultancy as well. I am a Thoroughbred LaSallian from grade 1 till college, and I'm happy to be here this morning.
So, what's the first step in getting sponsors?
Well, so first step, of course, is you develop your team, right? You first have to know what your objectives are. It's like putting up a company. What's your vision? What's your mission? What are we gunning for? Why are you asking for that sponsorship? So I believe your objective has to be very specific. For example, is it a fundraising event? How much are you gunning for? Is it 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, or a few hundreds of thousands? So you must be very clear on your agenda, or with your agenda rather. And with that, once that is clear, then you move on to the next step. And what is that? You have to create a story. And the story has to be honest, meaning, is it for the benefit of LaSalle scholars? Is it for a medical mission? So, what are you after? Why are you approaching this particular sponsor? You have to be clear also on, after the vision and mission, on the benefits of the sponsor supporting your cause, your advocacy. Why do we have to support it? And if we do, what do we get out of it? Will our product or service be exposed? But I think primarily, more often than not, sponsors, well, like our friends, our colleagues and associates, and at times, yours truly, our company and our associates, we go for projects or endeavors that have a heart, that has a clear purpose on where our support is going and how it will affect the brand or service that we are giving. Basically, that's how it is.
So, where do you find sponsors?
Sponsors are found within your sphere of influence. Again, I go back to the basic. Sponsors will gravitate towards you if they are clear on the purpose. For example, Nike, why do they sponsor Tiger Woods and the like? They did not even drop him when he had a personal scandal. It's because they believe in the capacities of the athlete and they have a relationship. Again, that's one keyword also. No? You approach people, groups, organizations that you have relationships with already because it's all a matter of trust. So that's one, your sphere of influence. So it be personal, whether it be professional. But bottom line, it's all about relationships. Now, you will have to be specific on your demographic. So, if, for example, you're putting up a golf tournament for the De La Salle Alumni Association, so you market to the alumni. And of course, that will now be filtered and you will go down to the people who are golfers and maybe non-golfers who would like their brands marketed or promoted during that particular event. So for example, if it's a concert of a celebrity, what kind of celebrity is that person? What does he stand for? Then a particular fit will come into play. So sponsors will have to be fit into the particular event or product or celebrity or brand. So of course, basic sales, you start with cold calling. That's just gravy actually. But if your objectives are clear, then you'll be able to know where to go, right? Whether it be if it's a personal concern, if you're raising funds for a cancer patient, then you can tap loved ones, right? Because it involves something personal. Now, if it's something corporate, for example, as I've said, a golf tournament or an alumni homecoming, right? Then you tap the people within your demographic, meaning students, parents, alumni, who are inclined to support because they associate themselves with you. So you look for people who can associate the particular event with them, and of course how they associate themselves to you and the particular event. So trust, relationship, and sphere of influence.
How do you persuade them to sponsor?
I think the key here when closing a particular sponsorship or proposal is follow up, constant follow up of your, or of course, your key people, your marketing team members. Well, of course, as the owner or as part of the executive management, if I or we can make personal calls to follow up, then that will add up to the higher probability of gaining the sponsorships being sought after. So yeah, I think it's just basically follow up, because if the intentions, if the objectives, if the pitch or the pitches are clear from the get-go, then if it's still hanging or pending, then I guess the key word there is follow up. Now, again, you don't destroy the relationship, you sustain it, because if they don't sponsor now, meaning maybe they don't have a budget yet for this particular event, then you can still go back to them eventually in the future. So, follow up, I think, is the key. Courtesy, follow up, and even if they don't sponsor, write them a thank you letter, right? And invite them as well if you can still accommodate them. So, maintain the relationship. It's a good business ethic.
What strategies do you have in order to make the sponsor say yes?
Simple. Know the decision maker or decision makers, right? I used to say this during my heydays in real estate. Look for the real man, M-A-N. First is letter M. Make sure the person you're selling to or approach has money. Letter A has to be the authority, meaning the decision maker. If and when they have the money, they have the authority, but they don't want to buy, then you create that need. You apply that same thing in event management with sponsorships as well. So when you will make that pitch, make sure again the intentions are clear, objectives are clear, and you're tapping the right demographic and market. Now with that, you have to know the key people involved in making that decision, right? So if you know the owner, you know what HR, you know the marketing person, you know the finance person, you have to look for a conduit, somebody you can trust and somebody who trusts you, who can establish that bridge. Now, if you can go direct, then that would be best, right? So, know the decision makers. That's the best strategic advice I can give. Make sure you get to hook up with whoever's making the call, who calls the shots for the company. Because if it's the CEO, COO, of course, he's accountable to the board. At the end of the day, the bigger or the higher the influence, the better for you as an event organizer. So, yeah, be strategic, be sincere, and know the key people, right? When you know them, then the yes will follow for sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Animal assault. What information do we reveal to sponsors? First, of course, you reveal your company name, your brand, you reveal your background. Trust must be established. As I've said earlier, you reveal your mission and vision. What do you stand for? And then, of course, what are you gunning for? The goal has to be specific. Meaning, for example, we have to fund for 500 scholars. Each scholar has to be given, for example, 50,000 pesos for this particular quarter or this particular term. So when things are clear, when things are specific, and when the intentions are sincere, then the probability of sponsors supporting your event, your advocacy, your cause will be higher and will be easier. So aggressive, we need not be aggressive about it. If If your purpose is, again, clear, and the timeline is clear, and you have a team, an advisory board that supports you well, and the definition of roles and responsibilities are clear, then, especially these days when it's the advent of social media, then you spread the word around faster. So the story has to be engaging, and it has to be clear. I'm very specific about that, crystal clear. I always believe in honesty when doing business. So the values, the benefits, and the relationship that comes with it. Because you have to see beyond the wall. You have to see, you have to work with the end in mind.
What benefits do you give the sponsors?
Well, of course, the benefits you give them will have to be customized depending on the event that you are embarking on. So, usually, we have standard sponsorship packages. Could be 1 million to 500,000, 200, 100,000, 50,000, 10,000, 15,000. Now, each particular category, of course, are given value. All right. So these value propositions, usually it's trimedia, newspaper, meaning print, broadcast, meaning TV, radio. Of course, now sphere of influence or influence marketing, social media. Of course, on the day promotion, meaning live event staging, announcements, endorsement of a particular authority or celebrity. So these things come into play. Now, of course, the higher the contribution, the bigger the mileage for this particular sponsor, right? All the way down to line ads, as long as they contribute. Of course, me on my end, we accept barter arrangements, meaning, well, we usually call it X deal in layman's terms. So we customize arrangements. So as much as possible, we try to bring in people or not negate the contributions. If, for example, we see value also on our end. One time, I got a set of four wheels from a wheel company, right? Just for a press release of their company in exchange for promoting them in a particular event. So, yeah, everything can be customized, everything can be arranged as long as that person gives value for our services. Press people, if somebody gives, for example, condiments, personal items, for example, that people can use, or gift certificates, we give it to the press people or the people who can support us. So it's a matter of rolling everything as long as we fit it all in to achieve our objective.